Is it possible to get a cheap upgrade on a cabin after you set sail? Probably not. Um, the back in the day, when I say back in the day, I'm really talking like 10 years ago. This was more likely, but in today's age of Royal Up, the bidding for a stateroom upgrade program, the answer is no. Typically, these days, most cruise ships are sailing completely full anyway. So the chances of a last minute upgrade are nearly non existent, especially once you get on board the ship. Now, is it possible? Sure, people cancel for all sorts of reasons, right? Air travel delays, somebody gets sick, uh, whatever, work calls them in. There's a lot of reasons why people don't go on a cruise at the very, very, very last minute. So it is possible for there to be a last minute upgrade. But the idea, the old way that it used to work was that you would go to guest services and be like, "Hey, are there any upgrades?" Be like, "Yeah, actually, we some people didn't show up here," and you can negotiate a rate for that. But with Royal Up now, I'm not saying it's impossible, but with Royal Up now, there's already a system in place for that. And so the chances of you getting one, Sean, are pretty unlikely if you don't go through Royal Up. Now, you go through Royal Up, can you get a better price for it? Sure, that's possible because you're paying for it. But I don't think it's in the old sense of doing that. That makes sense. Does Royal Caribbean provide any way for families to contact each other without the cell service? Yes, beginning January 1st, and on wonder this already went into effect. But beginning January 1st, in the Royal Caribbean app, there is a texting feature in the app that you can now use for free. It used to cost money. Now it's free. So theoretically, I say theoretically because I want to see it on all the ships before I really commit to it. But on Wonder, it was already active. At any rate, um, 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 through the Royal Caribbean app, there's a chat feature you'll be able to use on there. Now I say that I'm prefacing all of this by saying that Royal Caribbean said it would be free beginning January 1st on all their ships. It's not quite January 1st yet. I haven't independently verified it yet. I take Royal Caribbean at their word, but things happen. So yeah. What's your stance on inflatable hot tubs on the balcony? I know exactly which photo. There's a photo that's been circulating on the internet last week. Someone on Mariner of the Seas put an inflatable hot. It wasn't in a hot tub. Okay, let's be clear about this. This was like an inflatable kiddie pool. They put on their balcony, and you know what? Good for them. I strongly suspect they have young children. And this is something we used to advocate. I haven't advocated in a while, but it was a tip years ago. You could get like a really small one. Basically, if you have a baby who's in a diaper, on a lot of Royal Caribbean ships, there may not be a baby friendly pool. And a good tip for people that are traveling with young children is to bring an inflatable pool. I would always say put it not on their balcony, put it in your shower, a smaller one. Anyway, somebody put one inflatable baby pool on their balcony, and good for them. That's not disallowed. It's like it's getting creative there. So I did see that photo. Do you recommend a Royal Caribbean as a family's first cruise? Absolutely, yes. I don't think Royal Caribbean gets enough credit for being a great choice for families out there. Yes, there's another cruise line that's almost synonymous with families, but I'm telling you this right now, unless your family is loaded, I just don't think it's worthwhile. I think, quite frankly, Royal Caribbean is a much better choice for families, not just because of the price. It's not all about, hey, this is a cheaper option, because there are cheaper cruise lines than Royal Caribbean out there. The reason why I think Royal Caribbean is great for families is the award-winning children's program they have on board. And the fact that the cruise line itself is always and has been a family-focused cruise line. You're going to find kids on almost every Royal Caribbean sailing out there. So it's very inviting. Some other cruise lines, kids are kind of like the vast minority. Not to say that the majority of guests are kids on Royal Caribbean ships, but you find a good, healthy mix of all ages on there. And I think you're going to find a lot of great things for kids as well as their parents, and at a much better price than a certain other Orlando-based cruise line. So for that reason, I really think that Royal Caribbean there's a lot more more reasons for that besides that. But yes, it's a great, great choice there. What is my advice for a first timer going on Liberty in February? So let's see where you are right now. Number one, do the online check-in exactly 45 days beforehand, Andrew. Get your early check-in time. That's number one. Number two, pre-purchase anything that you're going to want to purchase before the cruise, meaning drink package, shore excursions, Wi-Fi. All these things are going to be cheaper before the cruise than when you get on board. Plus, you don't want to waste your time buying them on board anyway. So pre-purchase, they will be cheaper. Buy them now. And then if there's a better price, you can always log back in, cancel, and rebook. There's no penalty for doing that. Number three, go to the Cruise Compass archive on RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. and find a past cruise compass for Liberty of the Seas. A past cruise compass is going to give you a ballpark idea of what's available on board the ship to do. So you can go in there, you can, see, get an idea of what the activities are, what times things are available for, et cetera, et cetera. And that way you can be better prepared for it. Those are the most important things at this point where you are in your cruising cycle, if you will. Purchase the beverage package in Beach Club Cabana. Others in my group don't have the drink package. How does that work for the mini fridge in the Cabana? This Jason is a. You know what the letters YMMV stand for? Your mileage may vary. This is kind of where that comes in here. So, technically speaking, if you look at the rules and if you call Royal Caribbean, this is what they'll tell you. They will tell you that, people that have the drink package get the drinks for free. Other people have to pay for it. If some people have the drink package, some don't. In the Cabana, generally they kind of look the other way with that kind of stuff. It depends on the Cabana attendant. I've seen it go both ways. Theoretically, you'll be charged for the drinks that you consume versus not. I know there's a mini fridge, and you're probably wondering, how does the attendant know that I got them versus somebody else? That kind of falls into that. I don't know. One of the questions they ask you almost immediately when you get there and you order your first drink is, does anybody have the drink package? And that kind of helps establish that protocol along the way. So I don't know if you want to chance it, if you want to say, I have the drink package, and my very good friend, President Andrew Jackson, has the drink package. I don't know. You could try that, but it's kind of a YMMV. I've seen many things happen there. But what beach area do you recommend for Labadee? Relaxing, people watching, and not far from food or drink. I always recommend Nelly's Beach. Nelly's Beach. I don't love Adrenaline Beach. I mean, Adrenaline Beach probably has better people watching, but the beach itself, I think, is better. I say Nelly's Beach. Best ship to travel with an 11-year-old boy and just mom will he be able to wander around alone? Sure. The best ship for an 11-year-old boy. I mean, there are a lot of great choices that are there. I would maybe gravitate towards like Odyssey of the Seas because it's got a lot of cool things there. I think a lot of in general, I think it's a great ship for teenagers. And obviously, I know your son is not a teen yet, but I think he'll love a lot of the activities that are there. So I would definitely. How about Odyssey? Since you wanted a recommendation, there are more than that. There's a lot of great ships: Mariner, Navigator, Freedom, they're all, Oasis. They're all great ships. But you want one? I'll pick Odyssey of the Seas. I think that's a great choice for them. Icon is very impressive, but do you think we're going to sit there max? Do you think it's too much at this point? I don't, Tamara. And you know why I say that? Because people said the same thing about like every other ship that came before this. Like the Sovereign class. This is a great article. I can't find it off the top of my head here. But anyway, if you want it, I can send you later. There was an article about Majesty of the Seas being like over the top. People said that about the Sovereign class, about the Voyager class, about the Oasis class. It's all relative, right? And I think that um it's part of the natural evolution of cruising. Cruising is not the same today as it was 10 years ago, nor is it the same. And 10 years ago, it wasn't the same as it was 10 years before that, right? There's always an evolution to it. And you might look at Icon and you might say, well, especially because it's not even built yet or fully built yet, I should say. You might say, well, wow, that looks like crazy over the top stuff. People said go look at the Oasis of the Seas concept art, right? And I'm sure a lot of people there thought, man, that's crazy, right? And it's kind of along the same lines as why I don't think that's the case at all. I think that what Royal Caribbean is doing, it's kind of what they've always done, is trying to be that brand leader, to be the company that pushes the envelope, not holds the envelope. I don't know what the opposite of pushing the envelope is, but it's the company that leads the way, right? And I think that all eyes are on Icon because it's going to be a major um, uh, bar that's going to be set now for the rest of the industry going forward. So, how common are rough seas and recommendations on which month to cruise to avoid seasickness? Good question, Jules. And the answer is don't worry about it. Number one, there is no guarantee about what month to avoid seasickness because seasickness and motion in the ocean is controlled by the weather, right? Kind of like Jules. If I said to you, Jules, I want to come visit you in your house. What day, what week can I come to your house and you can guarantee me it will not rain? Of course, you'll say, "Oh, I can't because rain any, there's no, especially a year out. Who knows, right?" Same is true for cruising in that the weather is unpredictable and It is what it is. And sometimes you do have, motion in the ocean. The good news is the reason why I say don't worry about it is because even if there is motion in the ocean, there are so many easy ways to combat seasickness, whether you're talking about over the counter medication, homeopathic remedies, drinking ginger ale. It's so easily treatable, especially if you plan ahead and bring things to treat it with it, that you're going to notice that it's really not a big deal at all. So I wouldn't worry about it. You can have bad weather any time of the year. You could have a storm or just winds, because don't forget, wind is what churns up the ocean, because it's wind that causes waves, which ships have stabilizers, and they avoid the path of any terrible stuff. That you're not going through anything that resembles the Poseidon Adventure, despite what the media would like you to believe. It's not anything like that. And the good news is you'll have a great time on board. So don't worry about it. I know if you're a first time cruiser, I know that's hard to fathom, but what I'm telling you is that there's no guarantees that there's any time in which there won't be bad weather. So don't let it stop you. Rather, have a plan. I like to bring Bonine, Bonine. It's a over the counter medication. You take it daily, and it works like wonders for combating seasickness. But there are a lot of other remedies beyond that. So don't worry about it. Enjoy your cruise. Why is it better to book with a travel agency versus the cruise line? For the service you get. It's kind of like, think about it this way. Number one, the price is the same. Okay, so let's put that out there. But most importantly, it's more like think about going to court. If you go to court, you can represent yourself, or you can go with a lawyer, right? But most people take a lawyer. Why? Because the lawyer knows like the ins and outs of the court system. Same is basically true for travel agents. They can make your life easier. They will save you time and possibly even money along the way. It's not just about booking the cruise. The most common misconception about why people should use a travel agent is they think, "Oh, I can book a cruise." Of course, you're right. Anybody can book a cruise. That's not what we're talking about here. I'm talking about what happens after the fact, right? When you want to make changes, when you have questions, when there are issues, if there's a problem. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot stress this enough how important a good travel agent is. They really make a huge difference when you get a really good travel agent. And when you're booking on your own, I'm telling you, the horror stories of people who book on their own and then are still trying to figure it all out for a variety of reasons, whether it's cancellations, issues they run into, whatever. Is there's a litany of them on the Royal Caribbean blog message boards. Work with a good travel agent; they can really help you. It's about the service they provide you. Not only when you book the cruise, but all the way up through the end of the sailing. Really makes a big difference. So how reliable is the room service breakfast regarding the time? Can you count on it coming in with a certain time frame? Yeah, actually, more than likely, it's going to come earlier than you put it down for. But they're generally pretty good. I think with few exceptions, I think the most common critique I hear about at Terra is that if it doesn't come on time, is that it came too early. Like they put 7 to 7:30 and it shows up at like 6 something, right? Which I would argue is better than it being late, but that's not a bad thing either. So yeah, I think you're pretty good on that. All right, we'll be back again next week. Talk more Royal Caribbean with you guys right here on YouTube. Until then, have a great rest of your week, everybody. Stay safe out there. Do something fun. That's important as well. And we'll talk again very soon right here on YouTube. Bye, everybody.